Hi class, this video goes with homework 6. This is on mixed numbers and improper fractions as two different ways that we can write a fraction. A mixed number versus an improper fraction. A proper fraction is something like 2/5 that we see here, where the top is smaller than the bottom. If the numerator is larger than the denominator, such as 6/5, it's called an improper fraction. And let's visualize this kind of thing. I'm going to use the square rectangle because it's a little easier to draw. So here is our fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to need a second 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6/5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those pieces. And you can see from this visual real quickly, that's one whole piece and 1/5 of a piece. So we write that as a mixed number, mixed because it combines a whole number with a fraction as 1 and 1/5. When we want to convert something like 11/3 to a mixed number, one of the ways you could do that if you were a visual sort of person is say 1, 2, 3/3, 4, 5, 6/3, 7, 8, 9/3, 10, and 11/3. This is 1, 2, 3 whole and 2/3. That drawing the thirds is kind of difficult to do, so one of the techniques I've done is write them out in dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And you can see I have 3 whole with 2 left over. So improper to mixed fraction for 8/5, I'll use that dot visual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 is because of the denominator. 6, 7, 8. And you can see that I have 1 whole and 3/5 left over. Note that the denominator should stay the same. The other way around, if it's a mixed number and we want to write it as an improper fraction, what does 3 and 2/5 mean? It means I have 3 full sets of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 extra dots left over. And so that's 15, 16, 17 over 5. If I don't want to write out a visual, I like to do this times this, 5 times the whole number, says I have 15 just from the whole number, plus 2 that remains, and that's where the 17 comes from. So I'll do the arithmetic here. So I got 7 times 2, 14 that come from the whole sets, plus the 4 remaining. So I have 18/7. Let's do 3.5. 3 times 2, I have the whole number part, plus 1 left over, so 7/2. When you want to do arithmetic, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, my recommendation is that you do the arithmetic as in the previous lessons, but you do it after you've made it an improper fraction. So here I'm going to do 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So I get 13/4. 2 times 2 equals 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 5/2. So this is the problem I'm being asked to do. I'm going to use 4 as the common denominator. So that'll stay 13, and that'll become 10/4. And I get 23/4 when I add them. Now let's put that back as a mixed fraction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I have 5 full sets and 3/4 left over. If I want to multiply, same thing. Gonna first write them as improper fractions. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23/4, times 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Since it's a multiplication problem, I can look and see if there's any canceling. There isn't anything that they have in common, so I multiply straight across. And I get 20 on the bottom, and 23 times 7, 14, 15, 16, 161 on the top. And 20 goes into 161 8 times with 1 left over. Here where we're going to subtract. First, I'm going to write them as improper fractions. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, 8/3. Minus 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2, 7/5. Since it's a subtraction problem, I need a common denominator, so that'll be 15. 8 times 5 is 40, and 7 times 3 is 21. And we get 19/15. If we want to write that as a mixed number, this is 1 and 4/15. 15 goes into 19 once with 4 left over. And division. First, we're going to convert them to an improper fraction. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 2 is 37. Divided by 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. It's a division problem, so we multiply by the reciprocal. Now that it's a multiplication problem, we can look for any cancellation. I don't see any, so I'm going to multiply straight across. 37 times 5 is 185, and 16 times 7, 112. And if I'm going to write this as a mixed number, 112 goes into 185 one time with 73 left over. If you have any questions about making the conversions back and forth, let me know. Remember when you're doing homework 6 to pay attention to the format they want for your answer. Otherwise, you can be flexible to give either one.